Right now, they're really not. But if you look at the numbers from earlier in the season, the two halfbacks were very, very creative.
Yes, they were.
They set up a lot of opportunities for teammates and for each other, and worked really, really well. And but to be honest, they're putting out a team. I mean, this Nabil Jalou, or whatever he's called, who's on his debut at 28, obviously he's not the calibre of player you want to be pulling into your side. Clearly, at 28 years old, if he was good enough,
he'd been playing for 10 years.
You would have thought at least 4 years.
Well, yeah.
So, and then they've got people like Margley, who's not shown enough yet. We'll see. They've got Paul Seguier, who I don't think is rough and tough enough to play in the middles in Super League. I've never seen him dominate an opponent at all. So their fringe players are not showing enough quality. Combined with that, Yaha has just got is turning so Carl Price when it comes to like the physicality in defence and stuff that this guy should be doing. Because again, there was a try that went right through him. I can't remember if it was the one that actually wasn't given, but there was one. People just are running through him and scoring, and he's a big unit. He should be holding his own a bit more.
Yeah. The thing is, where Catalan are spending the money, as much as we can decry some of the fringe players that come in and aren't cutting the mustard, and their fringes aren't great, they've spent a raft of cash on some big names, and at the moment they are the ones who should be pulling this team up by its bootstraps and aren't.
Well, Bird and Burgess are out for the season with injuries. It's not their fault, and Bird has certainly worked hard when he's been in the lineup. But yeah, it's going wrong. And look, they need to say au revoir to Mr. Guisset, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not, But he's not a head coach. He's not going into the world of head coaching. They just need to quickly get,
But he would be a tone setter, a culture setter. And if he's had a heavy influence on this side, which I suspect he will have done, it's not going in the right direction right now, unfortunately.
What they need is a vocal, well-established coach who can command the respect of his players. So I'm sure they'll be fine. What did the stats tell us on this one, Mark?
Well, we were missing the stats for Nabil Jalou.
We're missing his name. Right, let's have a look.
Nabil Jalou.
Let's solve this one once and for all. Let's have a go. Where are we? Nabil Jalou.
Yeah. Anyway, so although incomplete because the Super League website didn't know who he was, dominant looking stats for the Giants.
Do you think he just got brought in? Do you think he's just,
Well, yeah, because
some sort of Waterboy-esque story.
Below 90% team tactical success and below 1,000 metres for Catalan for the second week in a row, who hurt themselves with errors and penalties too. They did manage 5 breaks, but only 6.6 metres per carry, which was 2.3 metres per carry worse than the Giants, who put up 10 breaks and 1,500 metres.
There you go. Individually, who stood out for the Huddersfield Giants then?
Jake Mamo. 4 tries, 246 metres. 3 clean breaks. Memo's certainly enjoying this time, isn't he?
Yeah, no wonder Mum looks so happy these days.
Jerry McGilvray, 2 tries, 5 tackles, 204 metres, 2 clean breaks, which ordinarily would be the standout stat line, wouldn't it? Jordan Turner, a try assist, 102 metres. Sebastian Ikahifo, 11 tackle busts, 169 metres, 5 successful offloads, and Paul Clough putting in a tough shift, try assist and 116 metres.
Bravo, Paul Clough. Right, Saturday afternoon over at Bellevue. It was
evening, Tom. I didn't want to correct you when you were doing the twill bit, but this kicked off at 7 o'clock at night.
Of course it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's still afternoon, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
It's after the hour of noon.
It come afternoon. That's all I'm saying. Right. Late Saturday tea time.
If you want to roll with that level of fact.
Do you think this is the thing people are fact checking us on?
I'm fact checking you on it.
Thank you. Saturday tea time. Late afternoon. Wakefield took on Leeds Rhinos at Bellevue, West Yorkshire Derby. It finished 16 points to 18 in favour of the visiting Rhinos. 7,183 people took a stroll down after lunch to catch this one. Phil Bentham refereed it.
Tyler Cass fan said, tight game with both teams having top 4 aspirations. Leeds just nicked it in their experience and game management. Trinity with a few too many errors, denying them field position they needed, especially in the last 10 minutes.
Wakey White said, first time in a while Trinity fans have been forced to drink from the cup of defeat, and what a rancid brew it is. Probably a fair result in the end though. Wakey just had too many errors at critical times to secure a win over a robotically good Leeds side. Encouraging that we could run Leeds close with a badly understrength side. However, and the cup game at Salford on Thursday is looking very winnable still.
Mitchell Dart said, pretty happy to get the win at Wakey, especially after being 10 down in the first half. Goal kicking, or a lack of, made for a nervous last few minutes.
There you go. Brian Davies said, good game that went down for the last few minutes. Unfortunately, Liam Finn had a stinker. We dropped a couple of bombs to gift Leeds 2 tries, and Scott Griggs threw the ball in a touch when all he had to do was wander over the try line to score. Losing for Fita mid-game meant we lacked our extra punch as the game wore on. He didn't return for a second spell. Better than our showing at Headingley, and nice to see a decent crowd in.
That was a very good crowd figure for a previously very disappointing average gate at Wakey. Couple of points to pick up on. First of all, Wakey White, thank you for not using the return key in your match review.
Yeah, he did just do. He just struck the paragraph thing, didn't he? These 2 forward slashes.
Yeah.
Well done.
And what Brian said about Fafita, he got injured, didn't he? So
big
that's
loss.
one they're going to be sweating on for Thursday, and that could be.
You don't want to say that a game hinges on one particular player being in the squad, and we'll talk more about the previews later on. But Dave Fafita has been enormous, along with Craig Hubie off the bench for Wakey this season, has been a very big influence on how positively their season has gone.
We'll even talk about it in terms of this game. When he was playing, they were ahead. When he wasn't, they lost.
Yeah.
When did he actually? It doesn't say in the story of the game. I can't see the actual minute of the injury here, but
you would assume just shy of just either side of half time. Would
based on the stats he put up, yeah.
There you go. But look, this is a positive result in a lot of ways, obviously for Leeds fans, because they came away with the competition victory, with the competition points. But Wakefield, as people have alluded to in feedback, understrength, missing some key men, run this Rhino side that is a very good, accomplished team very, very close. So now what needs to happen is they need to learn to start winning the close games against teams that are in and around them in the league. And again, that's something that I think they might not do this year, and you might start to see them fall away a touch as the Super 8 start. But great result in a lot of ways for Wakefield, in terms of attendance, in terms of performances, in terms of things like the depth of the squad, where you see Mason Caton Brown coming in and continuing to deputise brilliantly out on the left wing. There's lots of positive things around Wakefield at the moment, certainly.
And from a Leeds point of view, it seemed to be a tough, resilient, controlled win.
Yeah.
And obviously they never panicked about being behind early doors, and they never really got too threatened towards the end. They closed out the last 10 minutes and stuff when you would have expected. And you've seen from Wakefield before, earlier this year, the Huddersfield game is an example of where they've come back late because of the enthusiasm, and with a bigger crowd on, you'd expect that maybe to have carried them, but maybe it was the Leeds fans that made it a bigger crowd. But yeah, Mason Caton Brown keeps going well, doesn't he? He keeps running away from people, keeps showing that toe. But Tom Briscoe was able to show what he's shown in the last couple of weeks, or a surgeon. But
I feel we're responsible for that, having slagged him off before he's turned up. So we've seen his uptick in form.
Well, Callum Watkins was pretty devastating as well, it seems like, from the highlights and from the stats, and that can only be a good thing, because the more times he makes powerful interjections rather than mistakes and then goes missing. And congratulations on him, because his wife had their first baby. I think it came on or around their wedding anniversary, their first wedding anniversary. Fabulous. Very nice. I'm sure she will hate him for the picture that he shared on social media.
Never saw the picture.
She's in very much a state of recent birth situation, possibly trying to first breastfeed as well, by the looks of it. I'm not sure.
And there's Cal, like, is it not a selfie? Is it like,
No, Callum Watkins isn't in the picture. I'm sure his wife will not be very happy with what he shared, but very happy for the moment and their new bundle of joy. So congrats to the Watkins.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and congrats to him for his performance on the field.
Yeah, phenomenal.
With that coming up as well the next day.
Yeah.
Or the day before. No, it must have been the next day. Well done to him.
Yeah, the next day. No, yeah, Leeds are, ever the top 4 contenders now, aren't they, as well? And that whole Adam Cuthbertson combination with Matt Parcell, who doesn't make the stats round, I don't think, this week, but Matt Parcell leads the way in tackles for the league at the moment. So.
Yeah, and whilst he didn't make the stats round up quite this week, he controlled things down that middle, and with no Rob Burrow as well to come off the bench and help him out this time. So big bench for Leeds, which maybe will have helped, especially with Fafita not being able to go for the second half. So that probably finally a bench selection working out for.
Look at that. Using the full bench.
Things are turning, yeah.
McDermott in 17-man shocker. Okay, so what do the stats tell us on this one?
Both sides managed a very high 8.4 metres per carry average gain. Wakefield managing more breaks, 7-5, but Leeds managing more metres, 1,493, which was 164 more than their host. Although a 4-9 penalty count suggests Wakefield were well disciplined, a 15-12 error count shows they made too many errors. So things balanced each other off, which shows the close scoreline there. Individually, for the winners, Leeds, Tom Briscoe, 2 tries, 137 metres. Joel Moon, 1 try assist, 2 clean breaks, 3 successful offloads. So enjoying being creative in that middle half role. There, Callum Watkins, 2 try assists, 40 tackles, 126 metres. Ash Golding, 155 metres. And Adam Cuthbertson, 116 metres. For the losing hosts, the Wakefield Trinity, Mason Caton Brown, 1 try, 237 metres. Bill Tupu inside him, 1 try assist, 181 metres, 2 clean breaks. Scott Griggs, 124 metres and 2 clean breaks. All that suggests that everything happened down Wakefield's left and Leeds' right.
Golden edge.
Power met power.
Yes.
On that side, and both of them won.
There you go. There were no losers on the left or right. All good stuff. So on to the last game of the weekend then, Mark. Castleford ensconced themselves further into top spot with a 36 points to 16 victory over a patched up Warrington Wolves side in front of 8,577 refereed by James Child.
Yeah, Wyatt Joe said it says a lot about the gulf between the two teams that Castor didn't need to switch it on in the second half. They have been the same. Had they been the same intensity as the first, it would have been an entirely different scoreline. Wyatt now needs to try and get some momentum going towards the middle eights, because if we put in these same performances against championship teams, that's where we'll be playing next year.
Dire assessment from Wyatt Joe. Tom Eckley 99, welcome back, mate, says, I'm back and we're still shit. It's okay though, because I'm reliably informed that it's because of Brexit, Sam Burgess and socialism, not incompetence or any other logical reason.
Tyler Cass-fan said another first half blitz whilst Chris Hill was sin-binned ensured the points went to Cass. Poor second half by our standards, but Wire were no threat and it was very comfortable in the end. Nevertheless, we will have to be better to get past Hull next week.
And Fatboy Rod says, on paper Wire looked to have a decent team, but on grass they were dog shit, and not the white kind, the sort that makes you smile. Don't know if white dog shit is the sort that makes you smile, but fair enough, Rob. Chris Hill contributed fuck all apart from a cheap shot on Salute Gale. Sims' best effort was his top knot. Ratchford did nothing, but how could he? Stuck out in the centres, and Clark's had all his flair coached out of him. Eden's finishing with superb, 5 tries closer to the Snakes' record. And I will remind you all of my early season prophecy that Greg Eden would go on to break Dennis Solomona's record.
It's looking on, isn't it?
I fucking called it. It's happening. Don't dream it's over. He's got 10 tries left to get.
Well, we'll do that in 3 weeks.
He'll have done that by the end of June. We're fine. Called it. Early days. You didn't need to miss him. So stop calling him the snake. Let's all get over the fact that Dennis Solomona's gone. Hopefully you get your money for it and look at how great you are this season compared to last year. And Cass are great. Look, Warrington a bit patched up.
Well, I'm not sure about the on-paper situation with a debutant at full-back, Matty Blythe and Kevin Penny into the side, who I don't even think will be at Warrington next year.
I'm surprised Matty Blythe's there this year.
Joe Westerman as the scrum half.
Yeah.
And, you know...
But it's another good week for Castleford because, and I disagree with Rob that, you know, they're not a decent team on paper with what you've just said. But it's another good week for Cass because it's another week where, look, the week before they were able to rotate. This week, yes, they've worked hard, but it's not like they've had to turn it on as much. So maybe there's a bit more energy in the legs as they go again in the cup. it's just going well. It just goes from better to better for Cass, really, doesn't it? And 5 tries for Greg Eden, that golden platinum left edge of Castleford's.
Yeah, I mean, they banged in 3 tries whilst Chris Hill was in the sin bin, like Tyler said. And kind of just, other than putting Greg Eden in a few times, put the cue on the rack. And they scored on the first set, didn't they?